Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Remy and Nathan's podcast.
9!
It's not Remy and Nathan's podcast.
No, 9.
It's episode 9.
Yes.
Yes, that wasn't planned at all.
It wasn't planned at all.
Well, so today's episode will focus on the military aspect of the First World War.
But
Germany's... Yes?
Before we go on,
Yes?
can I just... Do you detect a Frau in the room?
I think there is a girl in the room, Remy.
Yes, she is.
I don't believe it, but it is happening.
It is true. We
Hello.
are... Hello.
We have a girl.
Clover has come all the way from Marlow to Germany to contribute to this episode.
So I hope you enjoy the feminine aspect of the episode.
Yep. I mean...
But there's nothing wrong or different
yeah,
about girls.
Exactly. The war, and particularly war in the early 20th century, was a very gender-neutral issue.
Yeah, I like to think I'm bringing a feminine touch.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
So we're going to try and whisk our way through the whole of the military side of the World War One. So to begin with, Remy, we see, and Chloe, we see Fleet plan introduced by the Germans.
Yep.
We spoke a lot about that in previous episodes. But it failed. And
It
why
fails.
did it fail?
It failed for a variety of reasons. Unexpected French and Belgian resistance, the quicker than expected mobilisation of Russian forces, the intervention of Britain, which was oddly not expected, and the fact that German lines of communication slowed as they got longer. So, by about September, November 1914, the war had been stopped to a stalemate. Trench warfare on two fronts. Moltke suffered a nervous breakdown and was replaced by Falkenhayn.
Chief of Staff.
Yeah, the chief of staff was replaced by Falkenhayn. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe it's pronounced something like that.
Yep. But yeah,
What about the Dardanelles? I can't pronounce that word. Campaign.
the Dardanelles campaign.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there were some successes for Germany.
An early, mostly on the Eastern Front were the early successes, but they failed to come up with a long-term strategy.
So basically, Germany, it was a bit unsustainable to fight on two fronts, so they tried to come up with a new plan: unrestricted submarine warfare. Clove, please tell us more.
Okay, well, they just weren't really sure about how to deal with the whole British blockade thing. So Tirpitz decided that they'd use unrestricted submarine warfare, which was basically sinking of all ships bound for Britain, regardless of their nationality. This obviously was controversial, especially with the US, who just weren't very happy with that.
Yeah, the USA were particularly angry when their ocean liner Lusitania was sunk, killing over 1,000 innocent civilians. Never a good thing. So that actually brought that was in September 1915. That brought the policy to an end, but it was briefly reintroduced. But then America said, "We'll cut off diplomatic ties to you if you reintroduce it." That caused a lot of division within Germany. For example, Tirpitz resigned. And
Right.
shows they didn't really know what they're doing.
So moving on to 1916, Falkenhayn thought the only way we can win this war is a big push on the Western Front, and that's where you get the really famous Battle of the Somme, Battle of Verdun. Verdun. Sorry about that, guys. But although there were massive losses on both sides, the French held on, the British held on in the Somme, and the Germans lost. And this fundamentally weakens Falkenhayn's position, and he is replaced by two men, Hindenburg, who is the chief of the command, and Ludendorff is his deputy, but he is a very powerful deputy.
Bear in mind the name Hindenburg for future episodes.
Yeah. Don't forget it.
It really became a war of attrition, and
that's not like rocks rubbing together to cause. Ignore that. Sorry, continue.
Thanks for clearing that up.
yeah, but the lack of any real progress kind of continued until, Britain introduced the convoy system to counter submarine threats. So the whole unrestricted submarine warfare was actually quite ineffective by the end. But then the USA entered the war. When was that?
I think it was in April 1917. Right?
I believe you're correct. They really helped push Germany back. The German defeat seemed to be only a matter of time. And
in 1917.
Yeah, and indeed German surrender came November 1918. So,
but was there not a bit of a time when Germany, you think, could maybe have won the war when the Eastern Front was the Russian Revolution? Check year 12 for that, guys. The Russian Revolution happened. And, in March of 1918, and the Russians pulled out.
Yes.
They surrendered. Germany gained huge amounts of land and food, and they could put all their resources onto the Western Front. However, by this time, the USA were already pushing their resources.
But also,
the
Germany
Western
actually
Front.
kept 1.5 million troops on the Eastern Front to maintain their gains.
So maybe they made a bit of a mistake there.
Mm.
It's up to you to decide.
It is. But yeah, so obviously the eventual armistice was
Armistice.
armistice was
Interesting
armistice.
pronunciation.
It's, I mean, I'll just observe in English. You can pronounce any syllable. You can emphasise any one. But
Wow,
I digress.
debatable.
Okay, the
We have an English expert in the room, so.
okay, but yeah, the eventual armistice was signed on the 11th of November 1918. Of course, we still celebrate, I guess, that today. And yeah, that was after Hindenburg and Ludendorff advised the Kaiser to accept that they were going to defeat. So
I think
yes,
we've covered the
we
whole
pretty
of the
much
military aspect
covered-
there.
yeah, there was obviously the failure of the Schlieffen Plan, the stalemate of the two-front war,
Yeah.
strength of the Allies, particularly after the US joined and brought 2 million new men, and the German war economy was limited.
So we're going to focus definitely on that in the next
Shall we?
episode. But that is a big issue, the fact that Germany didn't have the resources to fight such a large-scale war.
Exactly. So, thank you very much for listening to this momentous 9 episode
With a female.
with a
That's
female.
right, don't forget it.
With a Frau. Okay.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Do you want to sign
Oh,
off, Chloe?
okay, am I signing off? Bye, guys.